Since the great master and the leader think that I can do it, then I will do it. Taking a deep breath, Yi-chan nodded. Good. That would be great. Cloud Dreamer studied Su Jing and Yi-chan, then laughed. Don't worry. The school will not restrict you. You can do whatever you want. The Sky Cloud Martial School will not interfere too much. I only hope that when the Sky Cloud Martial School is in danger, you can help us. Of course. Yi-chan and Su Jing nodded at the same time. His fingers swept across the storage ring. Cloud Dreamer took out 2 tags and handed them to Su Jing and Yi-chan respectively. These are the core master tags and the great master tags. Although they are just symbols, it would be best if you don't lose them. After all, only the 5 of us know your real identities, so they might be of some use to you. Taking over the tags, Yi-chan said, in the next few days, I will go back to the Yi family to take a look. Then I will stay in the Sky Cloud Martial School to train. Alright, I have already prepared a mountain for you two to train. No one will disturb you. Waiting until Su Jing and Yi-chan left, Cloud Dreamer and the other 2 looked at each other and smiled. Now that everything had been settled, they could finally let out a breath. The next day, Yi-chan rode the Wind Eagle and flew towards the Yi family in the Luo city. The Wind Eagle could travel 20,000 miles a day. Within a day, Yi-chan arrived outside the Luo city. Without stopping, Yi-chan drove the Wind Eagle and flew towards the Yi family's area, which made people in the city gasp in shock. In the Yi family, it was rare for Yi Batian to come back to the Yi family. As an inner elder of the Purple Sun Martial School, because of the fact that a genius like Yi-chan had appeared in his family, he had become the enemy of the Purple Sun Martial School. Because of this, he had been pushed aside by the other inner elders a lot. He had been holding back his anger for a long time. He didn't know if it was because of Yi-chan, or because of what he had been through. Either way, he was not happy. Father, that's a Wind Eagle. His eldest son, Yi Feng, also came back with Yi Batian. He was already at the mid-condensing reality realm. Normally, his talent was not that bad, it could be considered as above average. However, things were different now. His mid-condensing reality realm cultivation could no longer attract any attention. Yi Batian raised his head, sneered and said, This is the Yi family. People from the Sky Cloud Martial School dare to come here on a Wind Eagle. They are not taking me seriously at all. Get down. Yi Batian reached out his right hand. His Zhen Qi surged up and created a strong suction force. Whoosh! A fierce gale started blowing, and the Wind Eagle started shaking. Yi-chan, who was covered by the Wind Eagle, stood up. Seeing Yi Batian's attack, he frowned and waved his right hand, cutting off the suction force. Yi-chan. Yi Batian squinted his eyes. Yi Feng plucked up his courage and said, Yi-chan, why don't you come down and greet my father? It had only been 2 days since Yi-chan came back to the Windy Nation. What happened in the Hidden Dragon Ancient City had not been spread out yet. Only a few people in the martial world knew about it. In Yi Feng's eyes, Yi-chan was only at the peak level early clasping Yuan realm, or mid-clasping Yuan realm at most. There was still a huge gap between him and his father, Yi Batian. Yi-chan remained expressionless. Greetings, uncle. After saying that, he rode the Wind Eagle and flew towards the plaza of the Yi family. How dare you? Yi Batian yelled. He was a bit surprised that Yi-chan had cut off his palm attack. However, he had reached the late clasping Yuan realm for a long time, and was one of the most powerful inner elders in the Purple Sun Martial School. How could he let Yi-chan look down on him? Enraged, he threw out a palm attack trying to show his power. Chapter 297. Feeling the sharp fist power coming right at him, Yi-chan threw out a punch without even turning his head. He had performed the first movement of the 5 mountain godly fist art, 5 mountain consolidating shapes. The bright yellow halo formed into a shadow of a mountain. The shadow vibrated and the air collapsed. Yi Batian's fist power didn't even reach 10 meters before it was shattered. Boom! The courtyard that Yi Batian was in was flattened, and a huge fist mark appeared in front of him. It was 5 meters deep. Yi Batian could not stop his body. He backed out for dozens of steps, his face pale. As for Yi Feng, he had already been blown hundreds of meters away by the fist wind. He was dizzy from the impact. In the air, Yi Chen's voice was heard. I respect you as my uncle, so I will let bygones be bygones. But it does not mean that you can do whatever you want in front of me. Some things should be kept to yourself. Yi Beixian's face kept changing. At the same time, he was shocked by Yi Chen's power. A casual punch from him had pushed him back for dozens of steps without giving him any chance to fight back. Perhaps he had reached the late clasping Yuan realm? No matter whether he wanted to admit it or not, martial geniuses were almost invincible among warriors at the same cultivation level. All of a sudden, Yi Badian looked like he had aged 10 years. If his biggest advantage was not even worth mentioning, then what would be left? Father has been beaten? Yi Feng awkwardly crawled up and looked around at the courtyard that had been razed to the ground. He saw Yi Beixian's expression drastically change, and his face was filled with disbelief. The last thing he had relied on in his heart had been destroyed, and his pride had been crushed. This kind of blow made his heart feel empty, and his eyes had lost all of their previous spirit. On the plaza of the Yi family, people from the Yi family had already arrived after hearing the commotion. Yi Tianhao and Shen Yuqing were walking in front of the crowd. Shen Yuqing was even holding two beautiful babies in his arms. Yi Chen turned around and smiled. Father. Mother. Yi Tianhao, who was still smiling, gave Yi Chen a bear hug. Finally, you are back. Yeah. Yi Chen nodded slightly. What happened to your uncle? How could Yi Tianhao not know that Yi Chen had razed Yi Beixian's courtyard to the ground with a single punch? At the same time, he was also worried that Yi Chen would kill Yi Badian. After all, Yi Badian had never done anything to harm his family, so he didn't deserve to die. Yi Chen said, "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." Tianhao, don't you know Chen Er's character? He's not someone who kills indiscriminately. Shen Yuqing's eyes were slightly moist, and he immediately said, "What are you talking about here? Come into the hall." Yeah. It seemed that Yi Chen had an amiable temperament. Except for the main mountain, the mountain that Yi Chen was staying on was the steepest one, and the mountain that Cloud Dreamer was staying on was the most mysterious. These three mountains could be called the three peaks of the Sky Cloud Martial School. The mountain didn't have a name yet, and would be named by the Great Master himself. Yi Chen didn't think too much, and directly named it the Shocking Cloud Mountain. It was the third day since Yi Chen had moved in. The huge mountain had already been explored by him, and he was completely familiar with it. On the top of the mountain, Yi Chen stood there. It is time to close up. The Green Lotus Sword spell is a top-rank Earth Realm martial art, so it is not hard to imagine how hard it would be to train. In a short period of time, my battling power would not increase but decrease instead. But after this period of time, my battling power would increase to an unprecedented level. It is such a shame that I have never used that bit of Zhen Yuan from the mysterious great art. Once I change my martial art, this bit of Zhen Yuan would be wasted. What a shame. The biggest problem for Yi Chen was the bit of Zhen Yuan in the Zhen Qi spiral inside his body. This bit of Zhen Yuan was not half-step Zhen Yuan, but a genuine supreme Zhen Yuan which was extremely pure. Without exaggeration, with this bit of Zhen Yuan, Yi Chen would be able to kill a peak-level early astral-reaching realm warrior within a second. Even a mid-astral-reaching realm warrior would be severely wounded if they were careless. A bit of Zhen Yuan would be more powerful than any ace attacks. It would be the ace of all ace attacks, the ace of all ace attacks. It would be able to turn the tables completely. However, it was not a good idea to stay here. The Green Lotus Sword spell was 2 ranks higher than the mysterious great art, and it was a martial art suitable for sword artists to train. Combined with the Green Lotus Sword art, it would allow him to have the power to kill early astral-reaching realm warriors under normal conditions. He would not need to perform the minor blood demon body-separating great art or that pile of Zhen Yuan, since both of them had their own advantages. Plus, time was precious. If he delayed training the Green Lotus Sword spell by 1 day, his progress would be delayed by 1 day, which would affect his future achievements. Never mind, I will train the Green Lotus Sword spell first. Once I have the power to kill astral-reaching realm warriors face to face, that bit of Zhen Yuan would not be that useful anymore. Biting on his teeth, Yi Chen had finally made up his mind. There were a lot of training rooms under the Shocking Cloud Mountain, and the biggest one was right in the middle of the mountain. There were 2 paths in the room. One was the normal path that led to the inside of the building, and the other was the cave that led to the main mountain of the Sky Cloud Martial School. The mysterious Zhen Qi was decreasing bit by bit, while the green lotus Shanqi was growing bit by bit. That drop of Zhenyuan was gradually exposed. Yichun could imagine that once the Zhenyuan lost the nourishment of the mysterious Shanqi, it would instantly turn into normal mysterious Shanqi. Whatever, it's better to deal with it sooner rather than later. The conversion speed did not decrease, but instead increased. Yichun pushed his green lotus Shanqi to its limit. Finally, the mysterious Shanqi had been completely converted into green lotus Shanqi. Only a finger-sized drop of Zhenyuan was left, quietly floating in the air of his dantian. It was vibrating slowly but surely, a sign that it was about to break down. Right then, a Zhanqi thread shot out from the center of the green lotus Shanqi, wrapping around the drop of Zhenyuan and pulling it in. In the next second, countless Zhanqi threads connected with the Zhenyuan, just like the meridians and blood vessels around the heart. They were all interconnected and could not be cut or separated. Seeing this, Yichun looked surprised. He did not expect that the Zhenyuan would not only not disappear, but instead enter the green lotus Shanqi. Chapter 299. Although he had already prepared to give up on that stream of Zhenyuan, it would be a lie to say that he did not feel pain in his heart. After all, he had not used that stream of Zhenyuan even once since he started to cultivate it. He did not even know how powerful it was, which made Yichun feel pain in his heart. But now there was no need to worry. The Zhenyuan had already merged with the green lotus Shanqi. As time passed, the mysterious Zhenyuan would also be converted into green lotus Zhenyuan, and would no longer have any connection with the mysterious Shanqi. So, there would not be any problem of not being able to use it. Perhaps the problem lies with the Great Mystery Art. Otherwise, the moment the Great Mystery Zhanqi disappeared, the Great Mystery Zhenyuan should have disintegrated immediately, instead of staying there and giving the green lotus Shanqi a chance to react. Yichun could vaguely feel that the martial arts from the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace were not simple at all. A mid-rank Earth Realm martial art could actually produce a stream of Zhenyuan, which was unbelievable. Never mind. Trying to understand something that I cannot understand is not a good thing. Yichun shook his head, and did not want to spend any more time on this topic. Sinking his consciousness into his dantian again, Yichun saw that the mysterious Zhenyuan was slowly moving in the green lotus Shanqi, gradually transforming into the green lotus Zhenyuan. During the transformation, the mysterious Zhenyuan was inevitably a bit mixed. Not only did it contain a huge amount of mysterious Zhenyuan, but also a small amount of green lotus Zhenyuan. Moving his attention away from the Zhenyuan, Yichun focused on the 3 green lotus sword qi outside the Zhanqi spiral. These 3 green lotus sword qi were only as long as a pinky finger. They were pure blue without any impurities, and looked a bit illusory. They looked like streams of sharp airflow, spinning around the Zhanqi spiral in a regular pattern. They were in perfect order, and did not clash with each other at all. I have reached the 7th level of the Green Lotus Sword spell in less than 2 months. This speed is indeed a bit fast. It seems that the higher my cultivation, the faster my martial arts will be. Yichun did not think that his training speed was 10 times faster than the other top martial geniuses. It should be known that not only normal warriors needed to change their martial arts, even the disciples of the super martial institutions needed to change their martial arts. Because when one's cultivation was still low, even if one was given a powerful martial art, one would not be able to train it normally. Therefore, in the early stages of training, most people would be training the mortal realm martial arts instead of the earth realm martial arts. Martial arts had always been about progress step by step. Those top martial geniuses had just reached the clasping Yuan realm, and had already started to train high-rank or top-rank earth realm martial arts, which was a challenge for them. If they were the same as Yichun and only started to train top-rank earth realm martial arts at their current cultivation, their speed would definitely be much faster. It was just like how Yichun was still unable to learn the Sky Realm martial arts right now. He had spent more than a year to learn it, but Sea of Souls Realm warriors were able to learn it within a couple of months. Did it mean that Sea of Souls Realm warriors' comprehensive ability was 10 times or even dozens of times better than Yichun's? This was impossible. The cultivation speed would be determined by the level 1 reached. The meaning of being a martial genius was that under the same conditions, their cultivation speed would be extremely fast. You could not compare an early clasping Yuan realm martial genius with a late clasping Yuan realm martial genius like Yichun, which would be unfair in itself. Of course, Yi-chan was confident that under the same conditions, the cultivation speed of a peerless genius would not be able to match up to his, although it was not as exaggerated. Kill. Sitting cross-legged on the stone platform, Yi-chan suddenly pointed his finger. Qi. A beam of cyan sword qi darted out, leaving a zhonglong sword mark on the ground. It was not that powerful, only about the same as the sword qi released by a normal late-clasping Yuan realm sword artist. It was not as powerful as the sword qi released by Yi Chen's sword. As the sword qi darted out, one of the green lotus sword qi in Yi Chen's dantian suddenly disappeared, and he would not be able to generate more in a short period of time. Only 2 green lotus sword qi were left spinning around his zhan qi. The green lotus sword qi inside my body has only been formed not long ago. It seems like I will need a long time to train it before I can bring out its full power. Letting out a long breath, Yi Chen's finger swept across his storage ring. A huge pile of low-rank soul stones appeared on the ground. There were at least thousands of them. In the early stages of changing martial arts, there was no need for soul stones to provide Yuan Qi, because the original Zhen Qi could be directly converted into the current Zhan Qi, which would save the training process. But as the mysterious Zhen Qi was used up, it would be time to use soul stones to increase the training speed. 2 low-rank soul stones landed in Yi Chen's hand. He closed his eyes and operated the Zhan Qi inside his body according to the 7th level of the Green Lotus Sword spell. Soon Yi Chen opened his eyes. No, the low-rank soul stone's Yuan Qi is not pure enough. It cannot keep up with the Green Lotus Zhan Qi's training speed. Do I have to use mid-rank soul stones? Normally, only the powerful warriors who had reached the astral reaching realm would use mid-rank soul stones to train, because the Zhen Yuan was way too pure. It would take too much time to train the low-rank soul stone's Yuan Qi. Right now, Yi Chen was also facing this problem. The Green Lotus Zhan Qi trained by the Green Lotus Sword spell was extremely pure, at least twice as pure as the mysterious Zhan Qi. Therefore, using low-rank soul stones would be much more efficient. Putting away the low-rank soul stones on the ground, Yi Chen took out hundreds of mid-rank soul stones. After training for a while, Yi Chen nodded to himself. This time he was right. Although it might be a bit of a waste to train the mid-rank soul stones Yuan Qi into Green Lotus Zhan Qi, compared to his power it was nothing. With 60 to 70,000 mid-rank soul stones, Yi Chen could definitely afford it. Reaching the 8th level of the Green Lotus Sword spell from the 7th level was a very difficult process. It took Yi Chen a whole 2 months before he finally succeeded. A sharp qi flow spread out in the air. The walls of the secret room had all been eroded to a crisp powder falling down. After resting for half a day and eating something, Yi Chen continued to train his Green Lotus Sword spell. It had been 7 months since Yi Chen started his closed-door training. During this period of time, the Sky Cloud Martial School had undergone a huge change. Not only did the number of outer disciples increase from 3,000 to 5,000, but the number of inner disciples had also increased from 500 to 700. The biggest change was the number of outer masters. Countless clasping Yuan realm warriors in the Windy Nation wanted to join the Sky Cloud Martial School. Because of this, the leaders of the Sky Cloud Martial School had increased the difficulty of the selection. Besides having enough power, they also had to have a good character. Those with bad reputations were rejected, and those with ordinary reputations would not have any advantage. Only some of the clasping Yuan realm warriors with good reputations would have a higher chance of joining the Sky Cloud Martial School. Many people expressed their dissatisfaction with what the leaders of the Sky Cloud Martial School had done. Unfortunately, what could they do? It was you who wanted to join the Sky Cloud Martial School, not the other way around. On this day, the Sky Cloud Martial School was the same as usual, and the number of people who wanted to join had decreased a lot. Hundreds of miles away above the clouds, a beam of lightning flashed across. Within the lightning, one could vaguely see a beast and 2 people. The beast was a demonic beast, and it had 5 wings. 2 pairs of wings were symmetrical, and the one in the middle was a lot smaller. It was covered with lightning, and it was exactly this lightning that made its speed reach such a horrifying level. It was a couple of times faster than the windy vulture. On the back of the demonic beast, 2 human figures were standing. The elder on the left had a beard and was wearing a long gray robe. He was standing with his hands behind his back, looking like a powerful warrior. Next to the elder was a young man with a pair of godlike eyes. It was Shang, who had lost to Yi-chan in the last battle of the Hidden Dragon rank. On the day when the Hidden Dragon rank had ended, Shang rode on the only rank 7 demonic beast in the Floating Mountain Martial School, the Bright Thunder Beast. He had rushed back to the Floating Mountain Martial School in 1 week and started his closed-door training. This was also the reason why he dared to challenge Yi-chan in half a year. After all, the South Rudra region was way too big, and without a fast demonic beast, it would take at least 1 to 2 months to get back. 9 months of closed-door training. Do you have the confidence to beat Yi-chan? The elder in the gray robe asked. Shang said, in the last battle of the Hidden Dragon rank, my first movement of the mysterious Sky Tyrant fist art was not completed yet. My martial art had also stopped at the peak level of the 11th realm, and had not reached the 12th realm yet. This time I have successfully trained my martial art to the 12th realm, and I have also mastered the first movement of the mysterious Sky Tyrant fist art. I have also learned the first movement of the second movement. It should be enough for me to beat him. That would be for the best. The demonic beast of the Sky Cloud Martial School is the Wind Eagle. It would take at least 2 months to get back from the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. In other words, he would only have 7 months of closed-door training, which is 2 months less than you. He has reached the late clasping Yuan realm, and 7 months would not be able to increase his battling power that much. What belongs to me, I will take it back myself. The glory in the early stage is nothing. Shang looked even colder. The bright thunder beast flew out of the clouds, and the two could already see the main mountain of the Sky Cloud Martial School not far away. Get down! The elder yelled. Pap! The lightning flashed once in the air. When it reappeared, it was already above the Sky Cloud Martial School. Such a fast demonic beast. There are people up there. There are really people. They are not friendly. Hurry up and inform the leader and all the masters. The bright thunder beast had made too much noise. Everyone on the main mountain of the Sky Cloud Martial School had been stirred up. They all rushed to the plaza on top of the main mountain. Luo Xinglia walked out of the palace. Seeing Shang on the bright thunder beast, he squinted his eyes and said politely, I am the leader of the Sky Cloud Martial School, Luo Xinglia. I wonder what brings you two here. Chapter 300. Brother Yi has finished his training. A lot of the inner disciples and core disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School felt pressured by Shang's aura, which made them feel a bit shorter. It was like there was a giant standing in front of them, a god of war looking down on them from the clouds. That kind of king's aura had made them feel breathless. Only then did they realize who their brother Yi-chan had defeated. Their admiration for Yi-chan had reached its peak, almost to the point of worship. The cloud mist between the main mountain and the shocking cloud mountain was torn apart. Yi-chan, who was wearing blue robes and had a long sword on his waist, flew over. Wherever he passed, the air was like water, with ripples spreading out everywhere. All of a sudden, Yi-chan landed on the main mountain. Yi-chan, are you okay? Luo Xinglia hurried to ask. Yi-chan shook his head as he shifted his gaze to Shang and said, If you had come a month earlier, I think it would not have been that easy to win against you. But you did not take this opportunity. Half a month ago, Yi-chan had already trained his Green Lotus Sword spell from the 8th level to the 9th level. In the remaining time, he had reached the peak level of the 9th level. The 3 Green Lotus Zhanqi inside his body had gone through 2 fundamental changes. After 5 months of training, the power of his Green Lotus Sword Qi had increased drastically. It could be counted as one of his killing attacks, and he would not be afraid of anyone in close combat. Shang could feel that Yi-chen's sword aura was a bit more powerful than when he was in the Hidden Dragon Valley. However, thinking about his own improvement, he sneered, losing to you in the Hidden Dragon rank competition was the biggest shame of my life. Now I will take it back with my own hands. Yi-chan glanced at the elder on the Thunder Beast. Unfortunately, I do not plan to give away the first place of the Hidden Dragon rank and the Dragon Fountain Qi. Then let's wait and see. The two stopped talking as their cold eyes clashed in the air. The vibrations generated were extremely horrifying. Even Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei did not dare to be within 30 meters of them. On the Cloud Mountain, Thunder Freer said seriously, This Shang is not simple at all. It has only been 9 months and he has already improved so much. It seems like he is not far from the second Zhen Yuan purification. Cloud Dreamer nodded. This is the first time I have seen this man. He is indeed a top genius with a king bloodline. The pressure of his aura alone can make people feel like they are no match for him. I am afraid only Yi Chen's sword aura can resist him. It's just that Yi Chen has just changed his cultivation method. Being able to recover his original battle strength is already his limit. His situation is not optimistic. Take out your ace attack. Otherwise, the battle will be over soon. Xikongshan also stepped on a huge rock in the sky, increasing the distance between him and Yi Chen. As you wish. Immortal sky shattering clouds. Performing his separating shadow flying art, Yi Chen left the huge rock within a second, jumping into the area where Xikongshan was. He was in the sky, throwing down a sword attack accompanied by a thunder light. Boom! 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 There were still a lot of huge rocks that had not hit the ground yet still being thrown into the air. However, under Yi Chen's sword attack, they all exploded into pieces. Countless muddy yellow fireworks bloomed in the sky, looking extremely spectacular. Break for me! Xikongshan performed his sky-shattering fist art again. That aggressive fist power shattered the incoming sword chi time after time. His body flashed once, as if he had completely ignored the distance. He suddenly appeared in front of Yi Chen, throwing out a punch that went through the air. Watch out! Some of the disciples from the Sky Cloud Martial School screamed. Xikongshan's step art was extremely horrifying. It was like he was moving in a second, making it impossible for people to react. Yi Chen smiled lightly as he put up his left hand's index and middle fingers, pointing out in the air. Shoo! The bright blue sword chi shot out of his fingers, cutting through the surreal space. Sword chi coming out of his body? The fist power had been cancelled out, and Xikongshan hurried to back out a couple of steps. In the next second, another beam of sword chi shot over. Although he had dodged fast, it still scratched his thigh, causing blood to pour out. In the sky, the elder who was standing on the back of the thunder beast frowned. He had expected to see a one-sided battle, but this Yi Chen was way more powerful than he had imagined. He had managed to tie with Xikongshan in the previous battle, and now he had revealed another sword chi attack that had shot out from his fingers, forcibly gaining the upper hand. Losing 2 beams of green lotus sword chi, and still not gaining the upper hand. It seems like the gap between the realms of the martial arts is not that easy to make up for. Yi Chen could tell that Xikongshan's martial art had improved again. He estimated it to be around the 12th level, while his green lotus sword spell was only at the peak of the 9th level. Since it was a martial art suitable for sword artists, its power was equivalent to the 10th level. Combined with the 70% sword intent, it could barely break through Xikongshan's half-step protective Zhen Yuan layer. However, it still wasted a little bit of time. Otherwise, with such a close distance, the green lotus sword chi would not have missed. If the green lotus sword spell had reached the 10th level, the 3 beams of green lotus sword chi would become 6, and then it would be much easier to win. The green lotus sword spell was divided into 15 levels. The 7th level could produce 3 beams of green lotus sword chi. The 10th level would produce 6 beams, and the 13th level would produce 9 beams. Once it reached the 14th level, the green lotus sword chi would transform into the lotus heart sword chi. Right now, Yi Chen was at the peak of the 9th level, and he had only produced 3 beams of green lotus sword chi. Glancing at the wound on his thigh, Xikongshan's eyes looked extremely serious. Yi Chen's improvement was out of his expectation. He could not believe that Yi Chen could still grow even stronger. Although he still had an unfinished ace attack that he had not performed yet, Yi Chen also had an ace attack. He would never forget the last battle of the Hidden Dragon rank, when Yi Chen had broken through his fist power with one sword attack and defeated him. Do not hold back anymore. Use the secret skill that can increase your battling power. The elder on the Thunder Beast suddenly said. Xikongshan nodded. Yi Chen, if this is all you have, then you will lose for sure. This time I did not come here just to improve my power. Looking at Xikongshan's fist power, his expression turned serious. You can't escape. The Yuan magnetic battle body had boosted Xikongshan's speed to its limit. His feet slightly stepped out, and his whole body appeared right in front of Yi-chan within a second. His huge fists, which were covered by the dark blue gloves, shone with a chilling cold light and electric current as he threw out a punch. The air exploded again. The edges of Yi-chan's black smoke twisted slightly. Puff! A corner of the blue robe shattered into pieces. Kill! Naturally, Yi-chan would not be at a disadvantage. While he was moving, he turned around and slashed with his sword. The sword chi that was hundreds of feet long was like a giant axe that could split the sky. Sikong-shang did not bother to dodge as he threw out a punch at the sword chi. With a cracking sound, the sword chi exploded. The extremely high frequency of vibration quickly exhausted the immortal will contained in the sword chi, and it could no longer hold on for even a moment. Brother Yi has fallen into a disadvantage. The situation is not looking good. What can he do? Sikong-shang has a secret art to increase his battling power, but Brother Yi does not. A rank 6 martial institution is indeed powerful. They even have a secret art to increase their battling power. Even if Brother Yi loses, it will not be because of his power. Hearing his disciples' discussion, Luo Xinglia's eyebrows frowned deeply. Yi-chan being able to get the upper hand in the beginning was already out of his expectation. He did not expect the situation to change so drastically. Sikong-shang had used a secret art to increase his battling power. In this case, if Yi-chan wanted to win, he would have to use the secret art that he had used when fighting against the astral-reaching realm warriors. Thinking up to here, Luo Xinglia glanced at the core master of the Floating Mountain Martial School who was standing on top of the Thunder Beast, feeling a bit worried. Whatever you have, use it all. I will shatter it one by one and let you admit your defeat. After shattering another incoming sword chi, Sikong-shang floated in the air. His cold eyes locked onto Yi-chan, looking for the best opportunity to attack. His body flashed without any pattern. Yi-chan thought to himself, one kill heart sword attack. No, he must have a more powerful ace attack waiting for me. If I use it now, it will only hurt my spirit and will waste my battling power. The minor blood demon body separating great art would not work either. It was not the time to expose it yet. Once he used it, it would be troublesome if something happened. The elder on top of the Thunder Beast had scared him a lot. Then let's use the mysterious Zhanyuan. Taking a deep breath, Yi-chan sunk his spirit into his dantian and quickly touched a drop of mysterious Zhanyuan inside the Zhan-chi spiral, trying to pull it out. Not good. I can't pull out the mysterious Zhanyuan. Chapter 302. Shoo! A weird cloth-tearing sound was heard. The kill heart sword chi, which contained the immortal mentality and sword intent, brutally pierced through Sikong-shang's fist power, leaving behind a sharp and long pitch-black sword mark in the air. It then landed on Sikong-shang's chest with an unstoppable force, blowing him away. However, although the sword chi had pierced through the fist power, the aftermath of the exploding fist power still tore apart the air, creating layers of vacuum cracks. Countless vacuum cracks combined together, looking like a vacuum balsam flower blooming towards Yi-chan. Shoo! 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 The range of the vacuum cracks was way too big. Even with his separating shadow art, Yi-chan could not avoid all of them. Without panicking, Yi-chan put up his left index and middle fingers, and the last green lotus sword chi shot out of his body, destroying one of the incoming vacuum cracks. As the vacuum cracks disappeared, Yi-chan looked in front of him. There was a collapsed hill, and a human-shaped crack could be vaguely seen. Boom! The hill exploded, and Sikong-shang rushed out with blood dripping out of the corner of his mouth. Stepping on the ground, Sikong-shang quickly calmed down his boiling chi and blood and his half-step Zhanyuan. This time he was able to block out the kill heart sword chi. Besides the fact that his fist power had cancelled out most of the power, it was also thanks to the chaotic force field created by his Yuan magnetic battle body, which had reduced the stability and destructive power of the kill heart sword chi. Of course, the half-step Zhenyuan on the surface of his body was also one of his defensive methods, which was 30 to 40% more powerful than the normal half-step protective Zhenyuan. Your ace attack can't do anything to me anymore. Plus, it seems like this sword attack can't be used too much. Let me see what other ace attacks you have this time. Winning or losing was very important to Sikong-shang. And the luck that had been taken away was also very important. Shang had never thought of giving up until the last second. The ground was cracked as Shang shot up into the sky. His tightly clenched fist was covered in electricity as he threw out a punch, shaking up the entire sky. Then I will show you a new killer move, Green Lotus Sky. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen's eyes were as calm as an ancient well. The Green Lotus Zhan Qi inside his body had been pushed to its limit, pouring into his palm and into the Star Scar sword in a mysterious way. An extremely sharp blue qi flow appeared on the Star Scar sword, which then condensed into countless illusory blue lotuses. Whoosh! The sword attack seemed slow, but it was actually fast. The air strangely calmed down, as if the raging river had turned into a lake with no waves at all. Chapter 303. Just like Yi Chen, Su Jing had chosen to go into closed-door training, not long after she got back from the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. Because the battle between Yi Chen and Shang was way too loud, she decided to come out and see what was going on. When she arrived, the battle between Yi Chen and Shang had already ended. Jin Huang's aggressiveness had alerted her secretly, so she rushed over to help Yi Chen. Jin Huang had trained a gold element martial art. Even a casual finger attack from him would have the ability to break through anything. It had easily pierced through Su Jing's defense, breaking the bones in her arms inch by inch. It had all happened too fast. The mysterious Zhan Yuan inside Yi Chen's body had just been drawn out of his dantian. If he moved even a little bit, it would be all for naught. He could only watch Su Jing being blown hundreds of meters away. The good thing was that Zhu Mei had already caught up, blocking in front of Su Jing. Blood explosion spell, Green Lotus Sky. With an angry growl, the bloody red Zhan Qi outside of Yi Chen's body exploded violently. It was the most powerful ace attack of the minor blood demon body separating great art, and it also had the biggest backfire. Even Yuan Zhongbo did not dare to use it because once he used it, there was a 90% chance that he would be crippled, and a 30% chance of dying completely. It was extremely dangerous. Correspondingly, after using the blood explosion spell, Yi Chen's battling power had increased again, reaching more than 80%. It was almost the same as burning his Zhan Yuan to increase his battling power. Not only that, the mysterious Zhan Yuan that had been poured into the meridians in his right arm had also been dyed red by the spell. In other words, the second he used the mysterious Zhan Yuan, Yi Chen's basic power would be similar to an early astral-reaching realm warrior. Combined with the 70% sword intent and the ace attack from the Green Lotus sword art, it would be possible for him to kill a mid-astral reaching realm warrior. As for a late astral reaching realm warrior, the result would be revealed soon. Shoo! The Star Scar sword in his hand was as heavy as a mountain. Yi Chen threw out a sword attack that looked slow but was actually fast. The boiling air calmed down at an unnatural speed, turning into a dead silence. Then countless green lotuses with a hint of red appeared, covering the entire sky. Humph! You dare to show off your insignificant skills in front of me? Break! Taoist Jin Huang snorted coldly. He raised his palm horizontally and slapped the void. A golden brilliance condensed into a giant palm, tearing apart the stagnant air, tearing apart countless green lotuses, and opening up a pitch-black vacuum passage. The vacuum passage seemed to contain a great gravitational force, sucking in everything around it. Puff! Zhang Haoran, who was only at the peak of late condensing reality realm, took a step forward and flew into the sky. Wu Ming laughed out loud. Zhang Haoran, don't look down on me. Do you think I, Wu Ming, am afraid of death? Unknowingly, all of the Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples had gathered together. Those who could fly stood next to Cloud Dreamer and the rest, while those who couldn't stood on the ground. At this moment, the Sky Cloud Martial School was unprecedentedly united and powerful. Everyone's mind naturally gathered together, eventually turning into a fighting spirit that would rather die than surrender. Zhu Mei, let's go up. Being held in Zhu Mei's arms weakly, Su Jing said in a low voice. Zhu Mei had tears in her eyes as she slightly nodded. Lu Hanshan chuckled, but no one knew what he was laughing about. They only knew that his smile was bright and gentle as he flew into the sky together with Zhu Mei. Looking at the crowd of Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples, Jin Huang was in a bad mood. He had never seen a situation like this before. In his mind, the Sky Cloud Martial School should be in a desperate situation. Then all of you die. Jin Huang roared out. His Zhenyuan started to burn fiercely, and an extremely horrifying aura swept out, condensing into a hurricane that tore the ground apart in collapsed mountains. That golden fiery light looked like a golden sun. Golden sun splitting. An extremely condensed light ball condensed on his fingertip. Jin Huang believed that once this light ball exploded, no matter how many people there were, they would all die. Sigh. Right at this moment a sigh was heard. It seemed to be right next to everyone's ears, but also seemed to be far away from the sky. It kept lingering in the air and vibrating. Right after that, the gray sky suddenly cleared up. In everyone's sight, a mountain-sized huge hand pressed down, covering the sun and the sky. The fingerprint on the palm was so clear that even the heaven and earth were shaken. A late astral-reaching realm warrior from a rank 6 martial school would already be considered as a top warrior in the whole South Rudra region. Under the Sea of Souls realm, he would be above hundreds of thousands of people. Not good. I can't control my Zhenyuan anymore. Although he had relaxed a bit, Cloud Dreamer still could not control his own Zhenyuan. Once his Zhenyuan exploded, there would be nothing left of him, and everything within 10 miles would be destroyed. This was a secret art that he had obtained by chance. Once he used it, there would be no way to change it. Thunderfreer noticed the aura that was about to explode from Cloud Dreamer's body, so he was shocked. Cloud Dreamer had told him about this secret art. This time he had to use it during the battle with Taoist Jin Huang. However, Taoist Jin Huang had already left, so his death would be meaningless. Shoo! Something strange happened. One of the fingers of the huge hand reached out and lightly touched on Cloud Dreamer's protective Zhenyuan. The wind started to blow, and the clouds disappeared. The next second, Cloud Dreamer's aura disappeared, and the Jade Destruction secret art returned to its original state. The explosive aura disappeared completely. Thank you, Senior. Cloud Dreamer cupped his fists and bowed toward the huge hand. The air vibrated. No need to thank me. Actually, I wanted to save Yi-chan. But Yi-chan's relationship with the Sky Cloud Martial School was too deep. This whole thing was caused by him. Senior, how can I not thank you? Cloud Dreamer obviously could not just say no, since the other had not only saved him, but the entire Sky Cloud Martial School. Even if the other asked him to kill himself right now, he would do it. The Sky Cloud Martial School was in his hands, and this kind of feeling was not something normal people could understand. The owner of the huge hand did not say anything, and his voice moved to Yi-chen's ears. Are you wondering why I didn't kill Taoist Jin Huang? The blood explosion art disappeared automatically. Yi-chen's body was covered in blood as he said weakly, Senior, you should have your own plan. Yi-chen can guess a little bit. Oh, tell me. Senior, you want me to take revenge myself and get rid of my inner demon? The air vibrated a bit unsteadily. You are right. I did have this intention. The path of a warrior is to overcome all obstacles, and no impurities can be tolerated. Today's incident had a great impact on you. If you could not kill Taoist Jin Huang yourself, it would be a huge hindrance to your cultivation. Plus, you are a sword artist who had comprehended the sword intent, so you could not back down. Killing Taoist Jin Huang was like helping you choose to back down. This is not what I want to see, nor is it what you want to see. Therefore, you can take Taoist Jin Huang's life. As for whether you can kill him or not, it will depend on your own ability.